The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.
You're getting ready to watch Brain Mechanics. It's brought to you by a severe brain injured survivor. But you are your own brain mechanic. I'm my own brain mechanic. I have the wrenches, I know how to put in the fuel. You also are the operator of you. Do we need specialists? Sometimes it's more than changing a tire. But you need to keep alert, listen to your body, go the proper speeds, and always check your air pressure. Look in the mirror. Remember, you're going forward and hit the road. Hello, Matt Duffin, Brain Mechanics. Matt Duffin, who is brain injured, and this is Brain Mechanics. We're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Sam Backhaus. When we were starting the peer mentoring programs, you had a couple younger guys that were understanding but not doing the work, and their moms couldn't get through to them, and this, that, and the other. And actually, he called me up and had me come back out and see if I'd work with him, and I did, and it was great. Now you're smiling, now you remember. But, you know, that meant a lot to me, personally, to see their growth. You know, things like that's what made me want to help people on the radio to begin with. I didn't want to be you, but I thought if I could get any kind of help out in the world like you do, that'd be one of my promises I made to God when I was laying there dead. So, here I am.
I think you have the ability to connect with people, Matt. I mean, you're a people person, and I think that one of the most critical elements in helping people, you know, whether you're just sitting and letting them vent or whether you're trying to teach them specific coping skills is the ability to connect and try to relate. You don't necessarily have to go through exactly what they go through, but you do have the ability to connect with them. And I think that really made a difference in how you were able to help others. So.
And that's what we all respect, to be able to talk to somebody that understands us. Although you're one of the normals that understand us, you know, and I'm getting Boo, my new caregiver, to understand a little bit. You know, it's a different world. And I don't wish it on anybody. I wish the road to recovery would be with your way, your team, but build a team like I did, because I'm sitting here talking to you on the radio, on TV, and mostly because of Dr. Backhaus, after I lived, and her way of getting my mind back together, because my family had blowed my head up. I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just saying I was living with a 90-year-old man, and we loved each other to death, and you know, there's situations that come about, and to his grave and to mine, you know, I will always thank you, and Dr. Trexler and Dr. Malik, after I got to know him, after he figured it out, that, you know, the things that you've done for people. I can be a little self-centered, I always am, you know, for what you did for me. I thought I was done. Everybody thought I was done. My dad bought another grave. He took me up and showed me one day not long after. I said, well, why did you buy that? He said, I thought I might need it here in a few weeks. I started thinking, I guess that's for me. Well, you know, things you don't realize, things that don't happen. No. Anyway, we got time. If I'll shut up. You know, I'd like to, go through some of the lack of initiation. You know, we can explain some of BIC's and their training on lack of initiation, because that's my major thing. The meaning of fatigue. We go through some of the stress management if you'd like. So begin, teach. What do you want? What do you think? I know they're all great, but managing fatigue is short, if you will.
Yeah, if you kind of give me like maybe a estimate of time right now, I might be able to sort of choose a topic and then direct my points.
We got 15 minutes.
Okay, so you just want me to kind of pick a topic on how to
help people in normal lives, people that are living in homes with other people that don't get out and talk to people, that don't have the privilege of knowing doctors like you, such as I do. I want people to have the knowledge and the respect that I got, because I don't think I had a doctor in my life other than the Navy until I hit my head. So a lot of people were that way. Where was I? You can talk about the importance of family.
Yeah, do you, what I could do? I know there's so many topics in there to pick through, right?
Yeah, well, I picked a few.
Okay, all right, so I'll narrow it down to 3, Matt. You tell me, do you want me to talk about management of fatigue? Do you want me to talk about importance of family? Or do you want me to talk about maybe just a few stress management stuff?
I think stress management would be good for people.
Okay, yeah.
If you have family fights, call me. I don't know. There's things we can do another time, but maybe. But yeah, a little lesson on I was going to say mindfulness, but I forgot what you was going to do it on. I have such a short-term memory problem.
Well, mindfulness, absolutely can help with stress management. So, okay, I'll just kind of talk a few minutes on stress management, and then you can ask questions or whatever, or if there's a certain topic within that. It is a really broad topic, and I think that if I were to sort of do this on the fly, one of the things I would say is take-home points. We first of all in BIC's, we literally could spend eight entire 2-hour sessions talking about stress management, right? And so it's a very loaded and heavy topic. There's a lot of information to get through. So maybe to use the next 10 minutes and give you highlights, I'll try my best. One thing I would start out by saying is that stress management sounds like a very sort of generic term, but I think that the reason why it's just such an important piece of obtaining quality of life after brain injury is because it's every day. Everyone experiences stress, right? So, and the goal isn't to stress get rid of, because we'll never do that. There'll always be stressors, and the way in which we cope and our attitude is one of the largest influencers of how well a person recovers after a brain injury. So if a person, if you take two people, put it this way, if you take two people that have, let's say, identical injuries and they've affected that person identically, let's say for the most part, their situations are similar, but one person is really very anxious and having panic attacks, or they have like a lot of issues with anger that become uncontrollable. They kind of have a, piss off attitude, forgive my language, or maybe a very negative attitude, or they don't believe in their skills, right? They don't believe they have the ability to manage conflict, or when hard things, when tough things happen in their daily life, maybe the first instinct is to say, I can't handle this. It's too overwhelming. I can't do it, right? So whether it's kind of a negative attitude or a kind of an unable, right, an incapable attitude.
Or unknowing?
I'm sorry?
Or unknowing yet?
Unknowing yet, right?
Forgot what it was like.
That, right? I mean, ignorance definitely. So I think that attitude is a very critical piece, and that you take people with the same types of injuries, that person that has a can't do attitude versus a can do attitude, right? And they might have found a way of shifting their mindset and their perspective, and therefore they cope better. Those two people will actually have very different recoveries, even with a very similar injury. So that's why stress management skills and coping skills are such a critical piece of helping us to find quality of life and peace and gratitude and joy in that, right? In spite of the injury. So, and it helps with relationships, right? If you're having difficulty, sometimes it's that the person you're with isn't, kind, but sometimes you're not coping well. So that's why we teach that. And it really a big piece of it really does start with the first thing we talk about is just sort of becoming aware, like you said, an unknowing attitude, right? Like I think the first piece is just becoming aware. You have to have some awareness, right? And I think you can really speak to that and have gone through that and know that once a person to develop awareness that this isn't going well, or maybe this is what I'm struggling with, right? And this, not only am I struggling with this, but this is how it's affecting. So I'm struggling, right? Go ahead.
No, there's physical behavior and emotional ways that stress shows up.
Right.
Such as increased heart rate, or your flushed face, or your ears start buzzing, and you start yelling and screaming and clenching your fist. Then you get depression, or you get anxiety, and you get sad, and all the frustration, things like that.
Yeah. So then just the awareness of how it's affecting you in the moment, right? A trigger happens, somebody says something or does something, and we have a response to that, and like you said, we respond. We get these physical sensations that we're not always aware of, those sort of fight or flight responses, right?
Right. Talk off our shoulder in a different direction.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, talk off our shoulder in a different direction. When people aren't happy, they go crazy, and well, we're already crazy.
And we fly off the handle, yell, whatever that is, right? But we react in a way that is not healthy, right, for that situation.
Right. And one of the hardest things for me to understand in school was the I understood those reactions, but I had to see them in myself. I had to find them in myself. And that's a lot of the work. You have to find it in yourself. For the coping skills to work, you got to work on it yourself.
Right. And because then you have to acknowledge, right? So that's sort of that whole that's the whole kind of recovery transition. You go from aware, you have to be aware, right, of that happening. And you have to be willing to acknowledge and accept your responsibility in it, right?
Right.
Like it's not always about other people. Sometimes it's about, what are we doing? How are we responding? Then we can actually do something, right? And once we accept that, then we go to adaptation, right? Like we adapt. And that stress management skills is sort of that in that adaptation. How do we adapt to that? What do we change? How do we manage that so that we have better moments, better responses, better relationships, better lives?
Yeah, because, there's ways of relaxing through that. Breathe deep, take breathing treatments. You just have to calm yourself. And there's different ways of calming yourself. I got 4 minutes? Okay. You have to learn to be mindful. And there's so many things that this book will help anybody with. Again, I go back to junior high, but their coping skills, their life coping skills. They're teaching it to adults and older juveniles that need to reclaim their coping skills. Because I'm telling you, people, when you lose your brain, you lost your mind. It's up there. I'm still what I am, but it can be put back together, but you got to get on it quick because of the neuroplasticity and all that stuff growing around in your. You want to retrain it because it's going to retrain itself.
Right, and retraining is possible, right?
Yeah.
Retraining our minds, it's possible.
Well, that's why I say you got.
Your mic is attached to that.
Oh, okay. I'm a very stable genius.
There you go.
No, but I forgot what we was talking about now through all the heck. I'm sorry. But the expectations for your recovery is on you and your family. And if your family's not there, guess what? You are. You are your own mechanic. It's sad and it's a long, hard journey. And no, it never ends. But you meet people. And I got lucky. I got a world-renowned doctor to raise me. And one that retired on me, damn it. Oh. But I know Dr. Malik's out there. I want to thank him very much. Of course, the Dr. Lisa Thompson Foundation, to where all this has come from.
Mm-hmm.
If you got time to speak on that real quick, yeah, because I love the Thompson, or Dr. Lisa Thompson family.
That's okay. I just wanted to say, I appreciate you sort of, mentioning them, because I do want to just say that I think that's one of the reasons why I came to RHI, that the organization as a whole, starting from its leadership, is really, that's what they are very personally caring, and they, every person that walks through that door, right? Like you said, they're individual, they have their own life story. And so it really has just started from the top. I appreciate the, shout out to Bix and everything that I've done, but I have to say that I do humbly state that I'm a sort of a conduit of RHI, that you're right. I have had, great physiatrists, Dr. Hammond, Dr. Carter Charles, and and I have had great support that have taught me. So this stemmed, the whole thing stemmed from Dr. Lisa Thompson Project, but the professional support has really stemmed from, Dr. Trexler, Dr. Malik, and then anybody along the way, Dr. Ibarra, right? Like, who started as a student, and now, I mean, she's very renowned here. So, like, I think that, so many people I didn't mention, but I would not have been able to even attempt to develop these types of interventions alone. Dr. Newman,
Right.
Dr. Newman is a huge part of our intervention studies, including the ICANN one. And so I think that if we, this has been a very collaborative approach in so many of these intervention studies. And so I feel like that shout out to this system and the professionals within the system have really helped. It becomes inspiring because they allow us to form these connections with you, and they care about you. And Matt, I just want to put a shout out to you, because all along the way, I mean, boy, if I've met anybody that has been through some stuff, and you've been through some stuff over and over and over, and it's not a one-time deal, and your stress didn't stop after the brain injury. And so you have been through this, and every time you've come back with this incredible resilience, and it's tough, but that's why you won that award, right? Because of your resilience and your ability to have that, I can do that. It's tough, and this is shit, and it sucks. And, sometimes you want to throw the manual at the door, but, you're living it. So.
Yeah. I went to, I was the first ones in the Middle East to go fight in 1980. So you have your own strength when you grow up and your own training.
Yeah, right.
And my dad, as you very well knew my dad a lot, he'd go to school with me. He was a kind old Pearl Harbor survivor. And like I say, he thought so much of you. And
me of him.
And for what you have done.
Well, you both have some resilient genes in you, I think. So that really makes it a difference, where you've been and what you've been through in your life, and the ability to have gotten through that. I think it's just a great foundation that's really set you up.
Oh my, we're not even talking about the 3 marriages. I'm sorry.
We won't go there now.
Sorry, I got my professional hat on. Anyway, I'm trying. I'm trying my best to be the professional Matt Duffin I can be.
There you go.
I got to laugh too.
That's right.
Dr. Backhaus, I want to thank you so much for being with me. I've been waiting. We've been trying to do this for 3 months ourselves, but COVID and this, that, and the other, and I know you're still not feeling the greatest. You just got back to work. I'm not feeling the greatest, but I guess I'm back to work too.
Keep plugging.
Yeah, God bless this world.
Yep. Thank you for having me, Matt.
Thank you for putting up with me all the time, but especially for this show. I'm hoping some people get a good bite of how this works. I hope.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe somebody will see us on the air and put us on the big show.
There you go. And we'll get to talk about Bix in detail. How's that? So.
All right.
All right. Take care, Matt. Thank you.
Bye, Dr. Backhaus. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.